been wanting to talk on this subject for quite some time now, but every time I've been sat down to write a script to get my thoughts organized, it just wouldn't work. So I figure, you know what? Let's just go for it. Let's get these thoughts out of here and not worry about the structure or the organization. Something that I have come to observe is you have a lot of people, especially with this ability, which is a great gift and a great tool and a great resource to reach out, share ideas, explore ideas, and not just be in these ideological tribal systems of just listening to your own thoughts and your own ideas and being surrounded by an echo chamber. We're actually able to now go out, explore, and test these ideas against other worldviews. And people see individuals like Jimmy Akins, Trent Horn, Scott Hahn, and their ability to speak well, to defend the faith, and to present the faith in a very compelling way to individuals with some hard questions. And it's admirable. It's something that we should be proud of and inspired by. Like, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And I see people wanting to get into this field and wanting to engage in apologetics and get into it, and that is an admirable thing to desire. The problem with that is I am reminded of St. Paul's letters where he talks about to the communities who were obsessed with the gift of speaking in tongues. And everyone wanted that gift. And they felt like that if they didn't have that gift, then they were less of a believer. They were less of a Christian. They were not valid to be a part of the community. And St. Paul tells them, one, well, if everyone speaks in tongues, then who would be there to be able to translate the tongues? Pointing out that it can't be an all or nothing spreading of the gifts. And he talks about we are the body of Christ, and some are called to be the eyes, some are called to be the hands, the feet, the mouth, the ears. And I think apologetics is turning into the new speaking in tongues. And because of this, people are getting into apologetics without knowing what apologetics is meant to be. And it's causing harm and division as opposed to good. I've shared on this page, one of my favorite quotes by St. Augustine, in it where he effectively tells believers that non-believers know the sciences just as well, if not better than us. And so if you go to a non-believer and you try to force the scriptures to say something that contradicts the sciences, you're going to make not only yourself, but the religion itself look like a fool to the believer. And I think that's happening a lot within the apologetics discourse online, especially by a lot of the amateur people who want to get into apologetics. And it's causing harm to the image of Christianity. And what ends up happening is people want to be engaged in this, but instead of using apologetics for the way that it was meant to be used. Justin Martyr is one of the first people to engage in apologetics. Apologetics is not the same as evangelization. Apologetics is a legal defense, so to speak. It is where someone makes an accusation against the faith, and you defend the faith. You provide a legal defense of the faith and what is actually taught. For example, one of the charges against the early church was that we engaged in cannibalism, and Justin Martyr showed how that is a false accusation to make against the Christian community. Yet so many people will take things like the 5 ways of Thomas Aquinas and try to beat non-believers over the head with it to get them to become a believer, when Thomas Aquinas didn't create the 5 ways to be a convincing argument to non-believers. It was a way to help believers understand what is meant when we're talking about God. And because of this, because people are using apologetics as a club instead of the shield, it's causing harm. People mistake apologetics for evangelization, or the decree of Christ to go out and spread the gospel and to baptize all nations. The other quote that I think that we need to remember is, preach the gospel at all times, if necessary, use words. I've been engaging with a lot of non-theistic debaters, and if you've happened to see me on some of their shows, especially allegedly Ian, they enjoy having conversations with me. They enjoy talking with me, and they enjoy the pushback, because I don't try to preach to them. We are called to follow the example of Christ's ministry. Christ's ministry was one of teaching, preaching, and healing. But the order in which he did his teaching, preaching, and healing is so important. Because what did he do first? He healed first. Then he preached to them once they were ready to listen. And once he preached to them and they were ready to understand, that was when he taught them. So if you want to evangelize, apologetics is not the way to go. You should understand apologetics, that way then you can help explain your faith when someone does ask you questions, but you shouldn't learn or engage in apologetics just to convince another. It's not a tool for evangelization. The tool for evangelization is living a good Christian life to the point where when people see you, they say, that is the type of person that I want to be. Why do you live the way that you do? And you point to the faith. I have had at least 2 different people since I've started being a little bit more active and engaging in some of these non-theistic communities come up to me and say, between you and Pope Leo, y'all are making me think that there's something to this Catholic faith. And it's not because of any argument that I've said. It's not because of some, indefensible, undefeatable argument or realm of logic. It's just because I'm living the faith to the best of my ability, and I genuinely believe, and I'm showing Christ's love to them in a way that they haven't seen or experienced before and didn't even know could be shown. So if you're one of those individuals who wants to be engaged in apologetics, do you know the sciences? Do you know the philosophy? And do you know the religion as good, if not better, than the people that you are debating with? Just going once a week to Sunday services and hearing the Bible talked about is not enough to be engaged in apologetics with these people. So pray and be Christ's body in the form that you were made to be, and you will do